wrap this up and looking forward to your thoughts and comments, Madam Chair. I wasn't going to do this, but Nicole, you stated it well, and I just want to reinforce, the issue about appointing a versus isn't about an individual. I've been the county commissioner through 3 sheriffs. All 3 have mismanaged their budget. All 3 have had major racial incidences under their watch. And so really it is more about a structural change in accountability and operation and not about an individual. It's just the time for this to have this conversation, I think is right. I came back. I don't usually come back for second rounds, but I'm doing it this time because this time it's personal. Some of you know, many of you don't. Bob Fletcher and I were great friends at one time. I strongly supported the work that Bob did in this community. I watched him and I worked with him, and many East Side kids and Ramsey County families benefited from that work. Our kids played on the same sports teams. His daughter spent nights at my house. My daughter spent nights at her house. I went to his wedding. We were friends, and I believed in him. I truly believed in him. But I also was close enough to see the rot. And I didn't say nothing, right? I mean, it was always kind of, well, this is good stuff. This isn't so good. Let's focus over here. Let's minimize. Let's dismiss. Let's overlook what's going on over here. And in some ways, my actions caused more harm in this community than the actions of the rot, because I didn't speak up. I didn't speak out, seeing what I seen. And Bob, where you lost me, and Nicole, you mentioned the gang strike task force. That's where you lost me, and that's when I started speaking out, because I could no longer watch the rot. The largest racial profiling effort ever in this state occurred in this county. Under your watch, under your leadership, hundreds of mostly men of color pulled over in their cars, their homes entered, no search warrants, cars taken, money taken, jewelry taken, dining room tables taken, washing machines taken, refrigerators taken, personal property, never charges, never arrests, all under the guise of protecting the community, when it was a blatant racial effort to steal wealth from a community that had very little. All that wealth, none of it, or very little of it, ended up in your property room, and you had the responsibility to ensure it did. And what did? Ended up being sold for pennies on the dollar to your deputies. And you lost me there, Bob. You lost me, and you'll never get me back. Towards the end of your term last time, 2 of your top deputies went to prison for 5 years under your watch. You hired a retired high school teacher to be your communications director, and he's tried to convince you for 18 months that this is Bob Fletcher version 3.0, and that this is Bob Fletcher who's learned from his past, and this is Bob Fletcher who wants to do good in our community. And what I say to that is, Bob Fletcher, you may be 3.0, but it's not about doing good in our community. It's you've just gotten better at convincing our community you want to do good and you want to be a part of it, and you've gotten better at hiding the rot, and you've gotten better at protecting the individuals that create harm in our community. And I'm not, for one, going to stand by and be silent anymore. Thank you, Madam Chair.